Hello, good evening, and thank you for joining us on this episode of 360 Degrees. Welcome to Rwanda Television, and my name, as always, is Sam Kalisa. And as what is going on currently in the region and in the country in general, we won't go further beyond that. Despite different regional efforts and mechanisms, peace and security has continued to be a mystery in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Civilians are being killed every day, and thousands of others are fleeing to different countries, including Rwanda. What is happening and in the DRC, particularly provocations to actually temper different other countries to be in this particular conflict has continued. And actually what just happened today morning, Rwanda says about a section of soldiers from the Democratic Republic of Congo's army, FARDC, on Wednesday morning entered the no man's land territory or area between Rwanda and the DRC and opened fire at a border post in Rusizi district in the western province of Rwanda. And all these proves or is a meaning of all the chaos and instability that has continued in the eastern DRC, despite different mechanisms and protocols and processes in place to actually address this particular issue. And in this episode of 360 Degrees, we'll take a close look and an analysis at the situation in the eastern DRC and ways through which this particular situation or instability can be addressed. And we'll be asking ourselves, is peace and security possible in the eastern DRC? If yes, how? And if no, why? And what needs to be done by the DRC itself, but also by the international community, by the region, to make sure that peace is achieved and we can get rid of different arrangements of killings and a possible genocide in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Joining me in the studio right now is Ambassador Joseph Mutaboba. He's an expert in diplomacy. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
It's my pleasure, Sam.
Thank you very much. Also joining us via Skype right now from Canada is Willie Manzingarambe, who heads or the director of Heroes of Peace. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on Rwanda Television.
Thank you very much.
All right.
My pleasure.
All right, and as we just said it's a lot of chaos going on right now. To start off or to take it off, it is a lot of chaotic events going on in the eastern DRC, one after another. To start off, I'll ask this question to both of you, Ambassador, but also Manzi. How do you analyze the current situation in the eastern DRC and all that is going on? I said chaotic events, one after the other. How do you analyze this?
Well, the situation as it is in the Eastern Congo today is as bad, or if not worse than it was before. And I'm not trying to depict a very pessimistic description of what's going on, but really speaking, I mean, we have to keep the situation as is, not as it should be. Right. So, looking at what's going on, looking at what was supposed to change and that has not changed yet, I believe that I'm using the right word. The situation is not better at all.
The situation is not better at all, and it is actually worsening each and every day. Manzi, joining us from Canada, I know you follow very well the situation and also regional matters and regarding diplomacy and everything. How do you analyze the current situation in the Eastern DRC?
As Ambassador just mentioned, the situation is terrible, especially as someone who is from the region. There is indicators that government is not only trying to make matters worse, but also is involved in making it even more worse than it was before. When you look at the population, for example, we receive news every day where government is taking part in killings. And not only that we are seeing it now, but even the reports that has come before from UN, from other like Kivu trackers, and the other experts who are in the region have indicated how the FARDC come at the #1 killing machine in the region. But when this instability started, there is one category or one particular tribe that is being victimized, which is, of course, Tutsis. They're being killed every day, and as you mentioned, the efforts of the regional leaders seems to be in different path than what Congolese government have in mind. So it's definitely worse. And what is astonishing is that international community, of course, who are aware of the issue, are silent. As people, of course, every day there is more people dying. Not only that they're dying, but even those who are able to reach the safety, like Goma, they are not being helped by the government. Only one particular type of people who are Tutsis are not being helped. Yeah.
Right. We'll come back to elaborate more on that regarding the possible genocide in Eastern DRC. But right now, to what both of you just mentioned, I'll still state with you, Amanzi, why has this issue persisted? It has been there for over 2 decades now. It keeps on coming. Like after 5 years, we hear the same issue raising in Eastern DRC. Different regimes in the country coming on, but why have you seen in your own perception this issue coming over and over and persisting? What's the cause and the reason behind?
You lost him.
Oh, sorry. Let's take a look at Rwanda as an example. When RPF took power, the #1 issue they had to deal with is peace and reconciliation, is the return of the refugees for those who wanted to come back in the country, is making sure that there is infrastructure to meet the needs of the people who are in the country. So look back at my own country. We have this old issue of marginalized people who are Tutsis in a country, and every regime that has been changing, there will be a blood spilled of the Congolese Tutsis. But when it came to 1994, things became worse. I always say that genocide stopped in Rwanda, but changed the region, changed the area, it changed the country, because it continued in the Congo. And these things, because there were powerful countries that were involved, such as France, who, according to what I read, were one of the people who were spearheading the Interahamwe to cross the border with their weapon in Congo. And they were never disarmed. And demography of Rwanda is the same demography of Eastern DRC.
Right.
So when Interahamwe joined my region, just like as we had our relatives in Rwanda, they also have their relatives in Congo. Remember, there was one old armed group called Magrivi, which was basically a Hutu militia who were started in Congo by the Habyarimana's regime. So received the FDLR, they made a coalition, and they were very well integrated in the population, integrated in the army, made a lot of money. As you remember, they came with the central bank. They took all the money and they brought it in Congo, and they started making a lot of money doing businesses in charcoal and other minerals and stuff. Government did not take care of them. They did not disarm them. Right. And these people they had enough time and resources to start preaching or teaching this genocidal ideology in Congo. And they were teaching or even sowing this genocidal ideology in the people who are already fragile, because there were always friction between our population and other Congolese population. So it was easy for them because the government were behind them. So to this day, our issues were not addressed because FDLR were imposing taxes on our people. Government did not do anything. If you look into Ruchuru, you look in Masisi, our cows will always be taken by the FDLR or other proxies from the FDLR who are Nyatulas. And they will take these cows, they will chop their legs, or they will call our people. We have tons of audios where they're imposing or calling people to pay the taxes. If not, they will kill their cows and they will kill them as well.
Right.
They started killing. Government have never, ever acted on these issues. So you cannot, what we are seeing now is the consequences, but the root cause is still there. Until it is addressed, there will always be these issues until eternity.
All right, thank you very much. I'll pick it from where you just stopped. Ambassador, he said it well that the genocide probably stopped here in Rwanda but continued in DRC. Analyzing same question, why have we seen this particular issue coming over and over and over and over again, hearing about people fleeing their country each and every day, deprived of their rights of being Congolese citizens? Why have we seen this issue coming over and over and over, despite different other things? Maybe the next question will be why the mechanisms have all failed from the past. But right now, my question is, why are we seeing the same thing, the same question, the same problem, the same issues, the same chaos, the same conflict over and over?
Well, thank you for the question. I believe the simple response to your question is there is no imaginative ways of convincing the Congolese leadership from then to today to look into the deep causes and the deep root causes of the issues. Mm-hmm. They are very far superficial, more superficial than anybody else in tackling the issues.
Right.
So once we have problems and we have issues which are very there to be seen by whoever, even the blindish kind of people could see, but what they fail is to recognize the root causes of the problem and address them. And as you can imagine, if you do look, but they tell you to look in the face of the problem, say, this is the problem. Mm-hmm. And instead of looking there, you look, say, oh, the problem. You will never find it.
Right.
You know, because you keep looking in the wrong directions.
Right.
So what the authority, the leadership in Congo has failed to do so far, and unfortunately, it's very unanimous, is to look at the issues and directly and say, yes, we have to deal with this. We have to dig deep and find the root causes and address those root causes.
Ambassador,
and this has failed.
When different regional mechanisms were put in place, I'll give you a simple example of the just recent, when President Kenyatta was appointed as the facilitator in solving disputes and regarding conflicts in the Eastern DRC. It raised my excitement. I said that finally that the near countries of the region that are joining forces are all on the same level and the same understanding of putting hands together to solve this particular problem. There's going to be a hope. There's going to be a solution to this issue. It happened once, it happened twice, it happened different other times, and finally there came the Angola agreements or the Angola discussions, and that brought together heads of state to see if they can collectively find a solution to the issues in Eastern DRC. But all have failed. We instead keep seeing a different response when it comes to the DRC government, different from what has been agreed with all different other regional mechanisms and arrangements in place to solve the issue. Why has regional efforts not yielded any seeds right now in regards to solving issues in the DRC?
Well, first of all, we have to recognize this kind of regional mechanisms and regional efforts which were made very genuinely by people who meant business. You go back to the Lusaka Agreement. You go on to Nairobi Pact from the countries of the region, the Great Lakes region, the pact which was signed in December 2006. You go back to South City Conference. You go to the Pretoria Agreement. So there are so many. And all these sessions and all these agreements and these efforts which were made together, we went through all of them with the assistance and the participation of the international community.
Right.
Here I'm saying it from authority because I was part and parcel of the negotiations throughout,
right,
until quite recently. So every single mechanism we went through was meant to give the solution to the problem. The first one was, the second one was meant to reinforce the first one. The third one was meant to come and see where we had loopholes from the previous ones, and so on and so on. And every time we come with something more proactive to see how can enhance the outcome of these negotiations. But unfortunately, as I said earlier, it does not seem to be very appealing to the Congolese leadership, irrespective of who we are talking about.
Right.
From Kabila's father to Kabila's son until today, there's no sign of a kind of a proactive way of saying, yes, put your hands on your heart and say, this is the time we have to look the problems for, wholeheartedly, to say we need to help ourselves because it's their problem.
Right.
And to say they can help the region because it is a problem which affects the whole region. So this bad will, or the lack of the will, the lack of goodwill, and the lack of good governance, so these have been able to enhance that kind of situation.
Right.
Moreover, I mentioned that we always were surrounded by the friends of the Great Lakes region, or the friends of Congo and the friends of Rwanda, and so on. All those friends who accompanied us would simply just leave us on the way and say, okay, this is where we are going. By the time we do 1 mile or 2 kilometers or 20,
they're already away.
then you look left to right, you don't find them.
Right.
So we are just there, left to ourselves. The Congo makes a lot of noise. You hear them somewhere saying, oh, yeah. Let's condemn Rwanda. It has been like a kind of a song which is repeated all the time.
Right.
And you wonder, is it possible for a genuine partner to come along around the same table as we are here? We are two of us here, and Manzi, of course, Manzi, we are here. And we have 2 or 3 more guys around to say, oh yes, no, you see, you are doing very well, but if you do this, you could do better, you could get better results. And we all agree, and then the witness
sign.
The signing, and then they disappear completely. You say, oh, hang on, you were there to tell us this and that, you were there to listen to us, you were there to say we are friends in the process, and now you are just under the table or just behind the curtains to cheer 1 or 2 who make mistakes instead of coming and say, oh, hang on, guys. In 1910, we, friends of the region or friends of Rwanda and the Congo and so on, decided that the borders of Congo, of Rwanda, Congos of Uganda were going to be this and this and that.
Right.
You did it. They were decrease number this and that, number this and that. Now you disappear from nowhere. You don't even want to be seen or to be heard when the problems, or when one of the signatories were. Maybe I should not say the signatories, because we're not signatories anyway.
Right.
We accepted what the colonizers told us to accept. So they have those documents, they have disagreements, they have whatever they had amongst themselves. The Germans, the French, the British, and the Congolese, I mean the Belgians. They have agreements which were signed then. Today you call any of these countries, nobody will appear on the surface to say, oh, hang on guys, when we took over, when we drew the borders of your countries, this is what the situation was. Nobody talks about it.
Right, Ambassador, maybe
No?
before we come to the initial and particular role of the international community, allow me to first stay on regional efforts or regional mechanisms put in place to address the issue in DRC. Coming to you, Manzi, the ambassador just elaborated all that happened before we came to the just recent processes, be it the Nairobi or the Rwanda, which are just the recent, and actually the recent heads of state, extraordinary EAC heads of state summit that just happened in Bujumbura recently. A lot of different things failed completely, as he just elaborated. And adding to that, we saw actually the EAC countries, including the DRC that just joined, accepting or saying that now that different other peaceful mechanisms are failing, let us put in place the East African regional force to go in the DRC and help reinforce and bring peace to the region. But right now, it's so surprising to see that the DRC government that just called on the force to be established in the country is the one coming back to say that you can now leave, you can now go, you are not of any use. Yet actually recently, both countries, I mean all the EAC countries, including the DRC, signed on a communique that more of the EAC regional forces should be established in the country to help reinforce and bring back peace. In your own perception, why are we still seeing this on the ground? And can we say the EAC regional force is of no importance in bringing peace in the DRC?
Oh, thank you. The number one thing you need to see is, I will add to what Ambassador just said, but we are going to analyze how Tshisekedi got in power. The man cheated his way in, and his time in the office is running out. The only way he can stay in is causing war, and then whoever is coming to help peace in Congo have to fight along with him so he can be a hero of the nation, so now he can be voted officially for the first time since he got quote-unquote elected. So the man, the regional forces came as the mandate dictated, and they did what they're supposed to be doing. But it looks like the entire burden was put on them to deal with this rotten country for ages, for decades. And this is not what's supposed to be. The Congolese people themselves should find a solution. And anyone who could be in this team working to bring the peace back in DRC, supposed to be addition, supposed to be helping what the initiatives of Congolese people are doing. But even this MONUSCO that has been there for ages, even these all 100 plus armed groups were formed while MONUSCO is there. Why? Because the government themselves have no one single initiative. The single initiatives, as I will always bring back Rwanda in picture, was to have people sit on table and discuss about their own fate. Instead of doing that, Congolese government is involving other countries to come in their own, to basically decide what Congolese government should do. and the Congolese have nothing in mind. So these kind of solutions have no sustainability because it's still outside solution. There's no inside solution. Imagine doctor trying to treat you, but you have a problem in your leg, and you're telling him you have a problem. You are just there. He's finding, treating the head, but the leg is the one that has a problem. So Congolese government always come in the meeting just to buy time. For me, I don't see that they are willing to solve this issue, because one of the things, for example, you can see the hate speeches that has been done with the authorities, such as Ndombasi, who was minister, such as Rwanda, who was minister, such as there is another one they turned into, I think, education minister. The incitement they're causing, I don't think there will be any other country they can be still standing except Congo. And when you see those things that they're doing, inciting hatred within the population, inciting fighting within the population, and then they go out to look for a solution. What kind of solution are you looking for? I don't think they are looking for a solution, in my opinion. What they're looking for is buying time, alibis, brains, so they can see that the time for the election comes, and they're like, sorry, we can't do this because there is a war in the country, because there is no one single child who is dying from Tshisekedi's family. It's other people's dying. Congolese people are blind. They bought the idea that Rwanda is causing all this mess in Congo. They always say like Rwanda has come to steal the minerals. But when you look into Kasai, where it has nothing, in the Equateur, where it has nothing to do with Rwanda, it have a border with Central Africa. People are still going to school under the trees.
Right.
People have even blackboards. They're just, they have nothing, no roads. There is no, like Equateur have, it connects Kasai, Sangani and Kinshasa. They use Fleuve Congo. To take like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on how tight in the Fleuve Congo is going. If you are doing that, how do you think this region is going to develop? They have Kasai is a mother of all minerals. But what is easier for them is blaming Rwanda, and then do the international community have no, is losing nothing because they still get whatever they're getting, and they just let the dead bury their dead ones. So the regional mechanism, regional forces have zero impact on the peace in the region, because the Congolese government have no willingness or that willpower to accept, to have a plan and ask help to implement that plan. That is my take on that.
Right. Are you in favor of, let me say, the Congolese government perception that the regional force should be expelled from DRC, as they say it is of no use in terms of bringing back peace and security in the region? Or are you of the view that it is of a great use, only that it hasn't been given a chance to?
I think the mandate they were given, they're implementing it.
Right.
But what I said is no use in the sense that there is no plan for the Congolese government that they should implement. They're implementing outside plan, not inside plan. So at this point, they're not going to be effective, because they're supposed to be cooperating with the country in order to be effectively putting in place what the regional leaders have put, basically, what I can say, roadmap for the peace and security in DRC. So Congolese government is not going to allow them do their work, because what they were trying to do is implementing, basically, be between M23 and Congolese government, so they can cease fire and then the peace talk can start. But the Congolese government continues to bomb the M23 positions. In the return, the M23 will also fire back to the government. So the regional forces are not going to be the victim of the government that is not willing to adhere to the roadmap that was put in place by the regional leaders. So I think there will be no use for them because they have no partner.
Absolutely.
Can I?
Yes, Ambassador.
Yeah, I earlier on referred to the colonial powers or the historical part of the crisis we know today.
Right.
But we cannot dwell on colonial times and the colonial powers. It's gone. Mm-hmm. We are in our 63rd or maybe more years of independence. Mm. So let's forget
the colonial.
That one is gone. So we got independence. Congo got its independence. Rwanda did. Burundi did. Uganda did. Everybody did. But ever since we got our independences, what have we done with that independence?
Right.
Have we been able to determine exactly what we want for ourselves, what we want for our people? The answer is yes and no. Mm-hmm. So if we have to push for a solution, whether it is national, sub-regional, or regional, or even continental, we have to think, yet again, more broadly to say, yes, it's not only us, it's our neighbors, and it's our next neighbors and the Africans in general.
All right.
So this kind of philosophy has not been internalized yet, or if it has been, it is being hampered by the interests of different countries within Africa mm-hmm. and from outside Africa.
All right.
So if we are playing on the basis of interests, not the love between country A and B, we will never get that love anyway. We have to make sure that our interests are catered for. So if Congo says this is our legitimate interest for our Congolese people, then let them articulate it and do something. But don't forget the interest of the people.
Right.
But while doing that, you should also remember that you're not an island. You have neighbors. So if you don't cater for the interests of your neighbors, then you are doomed to fail. And that's why today when we talk about the regional mechanism, East African Community Mechanism, for example, it's because the whole region says, let's go to the rescue of this traditionally sick neighbors of ours, see how we can help. So if you do get sick, and if you are diagnosed that you are sick, people give you medicine.
Right.
So the medicine is there. You take it or you leave it, but that's what you need. So if you don't take it voluntarily, if you don't want it sweetened or whatever, it's bitter. You know,
sickness will go on.
The sickness will continue. So no matter how bitter the medicine should be, swallow it because you need it.
Right.
So if Congo does not swallow the medicine from the neighbors and from the region and from the world, they are doomed to fail all along, and they have to blame themselves, nobody else. That's the problem. So I don't want to put it in a broader context of colonialism. Mm-hmm. This is the time to say, we are Congolese, we are Rwandese, we are Burundians, we are Ugandans. We have to look at our own interests and say, interest number one is ours. Mm-hmm. Interest number two is our neighbors. Interest number 3, 4, 5 is the others. And how do we go about it to have a better world around us, to create more room for every citizen to live in a quiet environment? That's Absolutely. The only way to do it. Absolutely. But the Congolese don't see it that way. They don't look like they are in a dynamic world where we can create some kind of a better environment for everybody to live.
Right.
And that's very sad.
Right.
Yes.
Talking about that and the international community and the accusations that Rwanda is the source of the problems in DRC. Recently, when President Paul Kagame was addressing the diplomatic corps during the diplomatic dinner that happened last week, he mentioned something related to the international community, which is sometimes behind these accusations. And, you know, the usual Kinyarwanda proverb that umuheto shimwambi bitari bujyane of the international community trying to push the DRC into problems that they will not help them solve. And this is a short of the long speech that he gave out, talking about the role of international community and about the accusations that Rwanda is the source of the issues in the DRC. Let's have it, and we'll be right back.
Even for those who think they are doing that because they must protect, they must do what, and their interests, you are dead wrong, you are mistaken, because one, by continuing to do that, you encourage somebody to be unreasonable and not actually fix the problem they were supposed to fix. If you go to Kinshasa and blame Rwanda, like Kinshasa is saying, all you are doing is you are actually telling Kinshasa, you don't have to do anything. The problem is on the other side. We are going to fix that problem for you. We are going to raise that issue with those people whom you keep blaming, and we are here to accompany you. That is the first mistake. The second mistake is when you say you are pursuing your interests, it's a way of making sure you are on good terms with this one so that you fix your interests and they are catered for. The big mistake you are making is this person has dishonored dozens of agreements he has made with the people, and you think he's going to honor anything about you? If ever, including even last time we were in Bujumbura, we discussed, he was the president, the leader was there, and his entourage. We discussed things, it was in the open, he participated, we wrote a communique giving people a sense of what we discussed and the way forward. The communique is read, but the next day, the opposite communique is read in Kinshasa. Now, can you tell me that so many of us and others far away are so deaf and blind to these facts?
Is the international community or is the Congolese government blind to these facts, Ambassador?
Well, mind you, they are not blind at all. They know what they are doing. But they have rather what I call a selective memory, very easily, to say, oh yeah, you know, forget that one. It doesn't match our interests. You know, our heart and our soul are not there, this side. So this is where our interests lie. So overall, you see that it becomes to what I was saying, that every country has its own interests to defend.
Right.
But you have to articulate them very well. So if those countries from the international community the president was referring to have some kind of a narrow-minded view of what Congo is, of what they want from Congo, then they will operate and resound whatever they can just, resound it, but within the framework of their interests.
Right.
Outside that framework, they are not interested. So a lesson we have to learn from it is that the Congolese should be able to say, okay, yes, you are pampering us, you are helping us because we are not able to solve problems ourselves for now until they get a solid leadership to do so. Mm-hmm. But time has come for us also to grow up as Congolese, to see how we can look after our interests, how we can stop being, I should use the word, how we can stop being lured into a childish kind of way of seeing things. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it's not you. It's Rwanda which is messing about. It's not you. So that means you guys just stay where you are. Don't think about your own problems. Don't articulate your leadership system. Don't spend too much time on your development. We'll do it for you when time comes. But that time never came. Since Leopold II until today, that time of helping the Congolese to develop properly, to think straightforwardly, has not come yet. Why? Because it serves their interest.
Not the Congolese interest.
Not the Congolese interest.
Absolutely.
So if you are keen at what you see, and you can judge, you can analyze, you can predict, you say, hang on, guys, thank you. You have been babysitting me for centuries. Mm-hmm. Now is the time for me to change my own nappies and do whatever I can do. Your interest, my interest also.
Right.
So that has been missing, and it will never happen for as long as the interests of the others are still the same, and they will use the same strategies to divide and rule them.
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing. It's the rule of the game, and it has worked. It has served the interests. I don't see it happening because of the goodwill of a certain president who is coming or not.
All right.
No, they will fight over the interests. So it's time to recognize your own interest and put in place strategies which can help you to achieve that. Otherwise, no.
Right. Manzi, the ambassador just said it right. It's not because the international community or whoever is trying to push or warm or babysit a DRC are blind about the situation or the reality of the matter. In your own perception, where is the international community, or where does the international community stand in terms of this problem in the DRC?
I think recently you saw a document back in 1965 where Americans were discussing how there were unrest that were broken in Masisi, and they were mentioning how the Kinyarwanda speakers, let me say that, or Banyarwanda as they call them, were legitimately grieving that Bahunde were occupying much of the administrative work, which was, by the way, done by the colonialists who wanted to suppress the voice of the Banyarwanda in the side of Congo. Right. And then there were these unrest that were brought, but then the Banande wanted to control the region by calling Banyarwanda the refugees or immigrants, the people who came from Rwanda and moved to Congo. And this document they were putting in parentheses that which they were not, like the Banyarwanda were not from other places, they were indigenous of the region. So if the American knows, France knows, Belgium knows, and everybody knows. This is not a new issue. They know that the problem is not new. They know even the effort they're putting into the crisis is not the effort that is going to solve the issue. We mentioned, for example, the MONUSCO, which was Monique. This Monique has been there for 20 years and has been having over 20,000, between 18 and 20,000 troops. And everywhere they were, that is where it's most insecure places. So these are UN troops. These are UN mission to Congo, quote unquote, bring peace. Where is the peace for since 99 today? This is when they came in Congo, there were only like 2 to 3 armed groups. Now there is over 100. For them, they're creating jobs because everybody who is there, even the UNHCR, which is irony that they help refugees, the worker for the UN will be paid, if it's from Canada or from US or from Europe, will be paid equal amount of the people. Let's say 2,000 refugees. Whatever you give to 2,000 refugees will go to one person from West. How do you think this person will feel if the war was not there? For me, they have a job. They are creating job. In the war, it's not the children who are dying. Again, I will come back to Rwanda. When Rwanda came in, what did they do? They said, step aside, we are going to deal with our issue. We are going to deal with our issue. This is the internal issue. We killed each other, and we are the one who have to sit down and talk.
Right.
So this is how you deal with the problem. You don't bring other people into your own home to solve your issue. You are the one who started the initiative. How can I reunite my family? The Congolese issue is the issue that needs national dialogues between tribes to find the root cause of the insecurity in the region. Because some of the insecurities are caused by unemployment. People, if you see that one person is extremely rich, another person is extremely poor, there will be a problem between them. There is an uneven division of resources. The youth, we have the most youth in a country who are unemployed. And armed groups are the ways of escaping this poverty that is is too much for them. Mm-hmm. That is the issue that could be only solved by creating jobs. How do you create jobs when you're fighting? Bring people together. Think about, because other countries see different people as diversity, right, and diversity strength is not a weakness. But Congolese, they think, because the international community is telling me that I will bring Rwanda and my issue will be solved, and I will feed only my family and my close relatives, and that's it. That is not a love for the nation. The love for the nation is looking in a broader picture and then find the root cause of what is causing your country to go down, and then start with that one. Everybody else could come to add to your initiative, not you waiting what they can tell you to do, but in your sense, there's nothing you are doing. Let's go one second to talk about an example of how international community can create a picture, mm-hmm, a huge picture, and they make it like a god. Look at Mukwege. Mukwege is one of the person who is carrying the genocide ideology and saw it, sitting on what they call Nobel Prize. Because he have that Nobel Prize, he have a platform to even be heard by anyone, whatever he says. Look at Mukwege's the committee for his foundation. Look how many Africans are not in those foundations. That will tell you everything you need to know about creating jobs in these wars that are happening in Africa. So Congolese need to wake up, have national dialogue, bring communities together, bring their own initiatives, and ask regional leaders to help them implementing those solutions. Otherwise, international community, they need Tesla. They're fighting with Russia. They need these microchips to put in their missiles. They don't have time for Congo. They don't. You know, overall, Congo is dying. They don't care. No American child is there. Even those who are there, they are protected. If the war broke, they will come and protect them. They lift them. They go to America. But they will keep needing those lithium batteries, though. They will need them. They will need cobalt for their electric cars. In a country that have 100 million, a country which have 2.2 million square kilometers, that is below the line of poverty. A country that is bigger than the eastern side, Europe, and then France that has no single natural resource, Belgium that have no natural resource. They are all sucking Congo, and Congo is there crying to Belgium to come and help them. Who is need to help another? Between Belgium and Congo, who need to help another? Belgium sleeps because Congo is surviving.
Right.
If we take Belgium from Congo, Belgium will never exist, or will be like one of those Western small countries there.
Right.
But Congo is looking for the solution from Belgium, which in return Belgium eats because Congo exists. Tell me what kind of logic is that? It's in the international community is not there for us. Let's face it.
Right, right. The international community is not there for us. It's not there for DRC to solve the issues. As we head towards the conclusion, maybe this is my last question or second last as we take it too quick. Ambassador, what is the possibility or looking or seeing through the lines, is there any short or single or tiny possibility of issues in the DRC being solved?
The answer is yes. I believe it can be solved. But for this to happen, there must be a change of vision, a change of, what do you call it, a change of appreciation also of the problems themselves. Because so far people have been framed into some lenses, and they don't want to change the lenses, and they say, yes, let's see closer and see better. No, they've been just fooled into a system of making people to believe the problem of Congo is Rwanda. The problem of Congo are only in eastern DRC, or the exploitation of the resources of the Congo is in DRC, which is a nonsense, a total nonsense. Now, you look at the size of the Congo, you look at the wealth, the mining wealth of Congo, and you come and try to tell the world that it's an eastern part of the Congo only. Why do you forget what's going on in the south, southeast, southwest, and so on?
Right.
You know, you read the reports about Congo. There's one lawyer, Maître Remy Chitong, I think his name is. He said, well, look, we have done research, and it has been published. You have $41 billion, which were made out of Miba for the diamonds and so on. Nobody's talking about this. 41 billion. I'm not talking about millions. I'm talking about $1 billion. Where are they? Where's that money? You look for it.
You can't see.
You can only find 2 billion. Only 2. Where are the other 39? And you are talking about, Rwanda is illegally mining the resource of the Congo. It's enriching itself. Its development is just it's total nonsense. You know?
Right.
So the time is now for the Congolese minds, the Congolese leadership, to wake up and liberate themselves from all this kind of heavy ties they have around them. You are okay. No, I'm crying for my freedom. You are okay that way. We are going to deal with Rwanda. It's the problem. The problem is not Rwanda. The problem is not somebody else. The problem is within Congo, and the problem is with those who are exploiting Congo indirectly and making people believe it's nobody else but Rwanda.
Absolutely.
It's a distraction, and this distraction is going to do harm and more harm to Congo and the Congolese more than anybody else.
Absolutely.
Rwanda, we are there, yes. We will navigate through. We are used now to being blamed for any wind, but we cannot continue to conjugate the same efforts they are doing. Destroying Congo just as you try to help Congo, you become the enemy.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you very much. As we head to the conclusion, Manzi, I'll just give you a few seconds. Looking at this in a regional perspective, is the DRC that was recently adopted as a new member of the East African community a burden to the community than actually another force to joining together the community and grow it together, in your own perception, as we head towards the conclusion? Just 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. Can I add a little bit to what Ambassador just said?
Yes, please.
I wanted actually to take a different route because I feel like the answer to Congolese issue being solved, I think, is federalism, to make different provinces being independent so they can govern their own resources, they can govern their own security, and whatever happens, the development can be at the provincial level, not to the one country. And because when you see every document you are going to get from Goma, you have to travel to Kinshasa. To go to Kinshasa, you have to pay for the plane to go there, and it is a lot of headache for the population. I think federalism will do a lot of, basically, will solve a lot. So going back to your question, Congo being a headache than being a blessing, I think overall is a blessing because, as you know, for the Congolese population to basically take their let's say their food and export outside, they need something called FDA, and they don't have any. But if they join East Africa, they could be able to use East Africa to start doing business internationally. Another thing that they were going to benefit is just a free movement between East African countries. Right. And also East African states also could do businesses with the Congo because the Congo have a lot to offer.
Right,
but,
20 seconds as we conclude.
Sorry?
20 seconds as we conclude.
Okay, yeah, but the only way to do that is that there could be a proper leadership in Kinshasa that will allow collaboration and also harmony within the East African states, and also to adhere with what leaders are, deciding, not saying A and you go back to Kinshasa and you say B. That will not help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Manzi, for your time on Rwanda Television tonight. Thank you very much, Ambassador Joseph Mutaboba. And we could say a lot about these particular issues, but overall, blame game does not solve issues, but rather taking responsibilities to solve what is the particular issue and putting first the interest of the country and remove anybody else that is against your particular interest is the only thing that can help the DRC, that can help the region and the African continent in general. We end this episode here. Up until next time, stay safe and have a great evening.